Good morning, you guys. So this week we're starting something new. We are going to be writing stories about ourselves. And when we write a story about ourselves, we need to make sure that we have one paper with just the beginning of our story. We have a second paper with the middle of our story, and then we have a third paper with the end of our story. So today we're going to be using this success criteria. It came in the packet that your parents just picked up. And we're going to be going over what the beginning, the middle, and the end would be. Because in order to plan your story so that you can write it, you need to make sure that you think about all of that before you start. So this week, we're writing a story about ourselves, but what we're going to write about is a time that we learned something new. So I'm going to walk you guys through how to plan it right now. So Daisy got me this really cool thing that holds my phone and records. So I'm gonna put my phone in this thing so that it can record while I'm showing you guys. Okay, so if we look at the success criteria, it says my story has a beginning. Under just this box where it says beginning, it says who are the characters, what is the setting, and what are they doing. So just in the beginning paper of my story, I am going to be writing these three things. That gives me 3 sentences. Then in the middle of my story, I will be doing this. What happens to the characters? 3 or more sentences saying what happened. And then my story has an end. What happened last and how did the characters feel? So you're going to choose something, a time you learned something new. So I just wrote all these things down so I could help myself plan this. So, okay, what did I learn? I'm going to write about the time I learned how to drive. So that's what my story is going to be about, learning how to drive. Then I wrote a B for the beginning. I wrote characters, setting, and what I was doing. My characters were myself and my mom. The setting was the setting was in the car, and we were on roads because I was on more than one road. What was I doing? I was driving my mom's car. So now I know that when I write my beginning, I'm going to be writing about myself and my mom, that we were in the car and on roads, and that I was driving my mom's car. So then the middle, what happens to the characters? So first, what happened in my story was my mom drove and showed me, figuring out which way to put this, what to do. And then the next thing that happened was we went to a parking lot for me to practice. And then after that, we got ready to drive on a road. And then in the end, what happened last? So what happened last was I drove on with other people practicing what my mom taught me. How did I feel? I was excited and proud. That's how I felt. So now I've done the planning part of my writing. Today we are just going to write the beginning part of our story. So I'm going to use the beginning part of my planning, and now I need to write complete sentences when I'm doing this. So now watch, and I'm going to show you how I do my beginning. Okay, so I'm going to be using just this part today to write about when I learned how to drive. So you're going to get one of these pieces of paper, and there's lines on both sides. And you're going to write, you could put in the corner a B for your beginning, so you know this is the beginning paper if you want. But you're going to be able to read your paper later and know that this was your beginning. So I need to write my characters. I'm not just going to write like I did here, myself and my mom, because would that make sense? No. So I need to write when, and we know that's a popcorn word, W-H-E-N, when, finger space, I, finger space, was, W-A-S, when I was younger, when I was younger, finger space, my, M-Y, finger space, mom, when I was younger, my mom taught, T-A-U-G-H-T. When I was younger, my mom taught, finger space, me, finger space, how, H-O-W. Remember, O-W is a Band-Aid word, because when you get hurt, you say ow. Ow. When I was younger, my mom taught me how to, T-O, finger space, drive. When I was younger, my mom taught me how to drive, period. Now that is one sentence, and now I have written who my characters are, my mom and I. Okay, now I need to write my setting. So I'm not just going to write in the car on roads, because that doesn't make sense and that is not a complete sentence. So I need to think how I'm going to explain what my setting was in this story and make it a complete sentence. So I think I'm going to write, we finger space, I don't think I'll fit the whole word I need there, so I'm going to go to the next line. Used, finger space, my, M-Y, mom's. We used my mom's car. We used my mom's car while I was, W-A-S, learning to, finger space, drive, period. When I was younger, my mom taught me me how to drive. We used my mom's car while I was learning to drive. I'm going to write, because I wrote driving my mom's car, and I wrote in the car, so I kind of wrote what my setting was, and on roads. So now I'm going to write, we took her car to a parking lot, or we took her car to a parking lot before I drove on the road. We, W-E, finger space, took, finger space, her, finger space, car, to a, finger space, park-ing, and we know our ing brothers are I-N-G. We took her car to a parking lot before. We took her car to a parking lot before we drove on the road, period. So now I need to make sure that I included in my beginning, did I say who the characters were? Let's look. Mom and I. So I did say who my characters were, so I know I did that. Did I say what the setting was? Used my mom's car and took her car to a parking lot. So I said what the setting was, and did I say what we were doing? Taught me how to drive. Learning to drive. So I can now say that my story has a beginning. I have complete sentences. I said who the characters were, what the setting was, and what they were doing. So I know that now the beginning of my paper is done, except for you need to now take this success criteria and you need to go through every single one of these and check them off. Make sure that you use correct upper and lowercase letters. Make sure that you use ending punctuation. Make sure that you have a finger space between every single word. Make sure that you spell your popcorn words correctly. Make sure that you can read your writing aloud. And then you're only going to go to here today because you just did your beginning. So my story has a beginning, so you're going to write who are the characters. Make sure your story says who the characters are, what the setting is, and what they're doing. And again, they have to be complete sentences. If you're going to plan it like I did, you can't just write myself and mom, because would the person picking up your paper have any idea what you're writing about? No. So make sure you have complete sentences. I am so excited to hear about a time you guys learned something new and all of your different stories that you have to tell. So have fun doing this and just take your time, because I know you guys can do this.